Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. So, there's a lot going on right now. Um, I've got a major shortage of hardwood, for one thing, and I need to deal with that. Also, I'm in a huge war. Hey, Canada, we're in a market together, right? Yes, you're in my market. How are you producing so little hardwood? Let me see. I guess I'm producing a lot of the market's hardwood. All right. So first things first. In the country, rural. We have iron mines not doing the normal thing. Hormuz. Ah, yes. Well, that makes sense. All right. Gotta knock that out. All right. Now. Oh, opium plantations. Lovely. Automatic irrigation away. Tobacco plantations, electric rollers, where possible. Logging camps. Not gonna go to electric sawmills right now because I don't. Yeah, because I don't have power everywhere. Logging camps. Let me see. Wisconsin, always labor available in Wisconsin. Although we're gonna need more railways there to make this happen, but that's okay. We can manage that. That should be enough logging camps for now. Naval administration, golly. Are we short on naval stuff? Ooh, can invite a country to the power block. Who? Persia. Excellent. And we two. I don't know if I want we two in the power block. Alright. So that's my hardwood situation. Now, do I want that before the naval stuff? I think I actually do. So, do I want it before the power? I think I want to finish powering the United States. And then the other stuff will have to be later. Canada can build their own power once they've got the tech. They're pretty close. The naval administration is just going to have to happen as it happens. And then these railways will have to go at the top. Such as it is. Now, we have another problem, which is we're in a giant war. So this is, sorry, it's a new day, so I'm reviewing my stuff. So this is Russia versus Persia. I'm involved. I do not have war support protection because I do not have war goals against me. And then this other war, this is just a diplomatic play at present. I do have countries that I can bring in, including Canada, who I will sway in with a call ally. And France, I will sway in with a. Oh, we're already attempting to sway. All right, so we'll deal with that in a second. So those are going to be fronts. France should be able to handle any fronts in the in Africa and other places. At least I hope they will be able to. I think this front we're going to have to hold for now, and just kind of figure out what needs to be done. We're doing well, at least defending against Russia. Let's hope that continues. There's a front over here, but I can't do anything about that right now. What other war goals are in play? They want to enforce investment rights on the Hejaz. Alright, so I do need to defend that area. They want to transfer Liberia, which Liberia is mobilized. They want to return Palestine. They want to return Lebanon. They want to conquer Crete. All right, so this is gonna be complicated. For now, let's snag our army of observation here. I want a new army. We need a general. Let's get Gregory Eaton in here. In this army, do I have any more places I can mobilize here in the USA? A little bit. But more importantly, I only need 1 unit of infantry to start conscripting. So, let's go with 4, 10, and 5 for this. Not siege artillery. And then we will... This army's already got conscripts raised because it was made of an army that already has conscripts raised. That's beautiful. Does it have the right mobilization options? It does. Alright, and then we'll do the same thing. This new army... Or no, this is the old one. This army needs a general. Let's see. Oh, John Pershing! Lovely to see you, sir. Let's go ahead and throw 20. Okay, good to see that stops itself from happening. I need the conscripts button. And then 5. And we'll call these Coastal Defense Forces. So we'll call this Eastern Coastal Defense Force. We'll call this one Western Coastal Defense Force. Bring in a new general here. Thomas Sutherland sounds good. We'll do the same thing to start out. Don't need Marines, I need Lancers. And then finally we'll do one more. For this new army, General will do Philip Glasscock. And once again, we will raise such units as we can. Alright, so that's 100 more divisions. 10th Army will call this Northeastern CDF. And for the 9th, we'll call them Southern CDF. And these will be Coastal Defense Forces, and they'll be as they are. I want Western CDF over in the west. Eastern, they can stay where they are. Southern CDF will move to the south, and these will be just to intercept naval invasions and other actions by the enemy. I can pull Costa Rica into this thing, but I want to bring units into there first. Okay, Germany sides with the Ottoman Empire. Does France side, or does Canada side with me? They're still thinking about it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, we bring in France. They will not accept a call ally war goal, but they would accept a war goal. Return state on Rhineland. Return state on Flanders. Let's go with return state on Flanders, shall we? That's a little bit more achievable, I feel. And the Suez is finally completed. Wonderful. Or it's finally employed enough to be considered completed. Troop transfer fleet, you're on your way back to the United States. Alright, that makes sense. And what about you, sir? Atlantic fleet? You're on the way. Tell you what. We'll have you... Do I want a blockade? I think blockade. And we're going to see kind of what becomes of that. French Republic sides with me. Very good. Now I have the ability to... Oh, yes, this is going to be a front. Alright. Let's throw in a war goal. We'll do a conqueror war goal on the Newfoundland... on Newfoundland and Labrador. Can I do a conqueror for Newfoundland and Labrador on behalf of Canada? Wait, let me see if I can get a return. No, I can only get return on territories recently taken from Egypt. 7.7 infamy to take the Rock. Again, can I get it on behalf of Canada? Doesn't seem like I can. So we'll go ahead and throw that in there. And I'll just give the territory to Canada when the time comes. Alright, so that means Northeastern Coastal Defense Force. I'm just going to put you on this front. And we'll see what comes of that. Front here's looking good. Front here's looking bad, but what are you going to do? I'm spending a barrel full of cash on this. And that really is what it is. It's okay. It's okay. We're doing okay. I may need to increase taxes. We'll see what happens. I am slowly fixing my supply problem. Hey! There's women's suffrage. Lovely. Now, who else can I bring in? Really nobody. Alright, that's fine. It's fine, I got this. Let's take a look at the Russia situation. Okay, we're on defense here. We are having a successful attack. Alright, here is this front having become a front. And scramble that army there to deal with that. Now the troop transfer fleet is here. I'm going to leave the coastal defense forces in the United States so they can gather their conscripts. Oil and Miranda, very good. Now my hope here is that Britain has... Is Britain involved in the Russia thing? They're not. So my hope here is that Britain will have so many global fronts that I'll be able to kind of sneak in and just get the place completely choked down, completely locked in. I don't like that. That's not good. That's Liberia, and I don't like that. I don't like that being undefended. This area could be worse, though. Suez Canal Force is still here. I could deploy the Suez Canal Force. All of their conscripts are in the Suez Canal, I believe. Yes, they are. Tell you what. Oop, not barracks. I can get a little bit more strength here. And let's raise the conscripts. Let's raise the conscripts. And we'll get the Suez Canal army into the action when the time comes. Force comparison's actually pretty good here in Persia. So we'll see how that goes as time goes by. I only have the one naval invasion. Carnatic front's just going to have to be what it is. I'm not concerned about that. Alright, we are on. We are in. Canada is in play. Supply ships are good. Alright, beautiful. So now I need to develop a little bit of a surplus as we push towards war. Democratic solidarity. In a pro-suffrage gesture, Austin Perez has released a positive endorsement of the Socialist Party of America for its stalwart support of voting rights in the United States of America. There is no issue in our republic greater than that of the franchise, that method through which the people may decide the future issue, any future issue which comes their way. With this in mind, my endorsement should come as no surprise. So we're currently, Socialist Party is currently leading. The Socialist Party of America is the guardian of the franchise, 30% extra momentum to them, or perhaps some party members more than others, 20% momentum, but stronger trade unions. Let's take a quick look at the thing. Interesting. So the Socialist Party's lost a lot of momentum, and the Democratic Party has gained a lot of momentum. However, the Democratic Party has 4 different parties, and the Socialist Party is only 1. I think I'm going to try to hold it to the Socialists, and we'll see what happens. So, they're the guardian of the franchise. We'll see how that affects things as we go by here. Hardwood situation is slowly being resolved as we build up our hardwood infrastructure. Power plants are nearly complete. We're having a shortage of munitions, which will end up being my responsibility to deal with. Oh. What does this take? Oil? I got oil. Let's... You're fine. They're fine. They're just pretending to be unprofitable. They're fine. So, munitions plants, private sector's got those rolled in. There's a doubling of the size of the munitions sector. Let's see where they are, though, in the queue, because I might need to build them myself. We got a few. Okay, they're all already being built. All right, beautiful. So that's fine. I can live with all that. Where am I putting all this money? Yeah, it's the military goods. All right, well, that is what it is. The military goods and other stuff. We're doing port bombardment here. The Devil's Railroad. Workers on the railway in American Amhara are dying in droves due to the harsh malarial conditions and the extreme demands placed upon them. Every mile is marked with gravestones, every track laid in blood. Malady and the scorching heat blister our bodies. We pave the road to hell with our lives. Okay, American Amhara is here. What's the... You have a little bit of turmoil. So what's the construction efficiency of this railway? It's probably... It's been 22 weeks? That's not bad at all. Let's go... So I can go full steam ahead for 10% mortality of laborers working in construction. Or this is too high a price to pay reduced state construction efficiency. I'm going to go with the reduced state construction efficiency on this one. 10% mortality is a ton. I am going to... Suez Canal Force is still hiring. So leave that be for now. Oh, cripes. I have a cash flow shortage. Or a taxation capacity shortage. Let's build up Kentucky. Where's old Kentucky? Here they are. I don't know American geography. I don't not know American geography. You don't know American geography. We got shortages in Louisiana, Montana, and Pennsylvania. So we'll just quickly build those up as well. Montana, not Minnesota, and Pennsylvania. Do I really want those all the way at the front of the queue? I gotta. They gotta get built fast. Harvest condition. Frost in Colorado. Pfft, what else is new? Tell me something I don't know. Alright, defense forces are getting built up. Force comparisons in North Africa are looking okay. Canal Force is rolling. Fruitful endorsements. In a gesture of solidarity with the Democratic Party, Susan B. Anthony has encouraged her supporters to vote for it in the ongoing election. For the interest of all principled people, the Democratic Party has a consistent record of excellence. I cannot speak higher of those brave men and women moving the United States of America forwards under their name. Okay, they're still going up. She has our thanks, certainly, 30% momentum for them. Or, this endorsement would best be more specific, 20% momentum and the armed forces get stronger. I'm going to go with the armed forces get stronger. I want to give them less momentum if I can. Alright. Anyone else looking to sneak in the back door of this war at the last minute? Doesn't seem like it. Suez Canal Force, I think, should still be able to accumulate conscripts since they're on the same continent as where their conscripts are raised. So they're not technically overseas with respect to themselves. I'm going to put them on defense. That should keep things a little bit easier. This front may get closed out from both sides pretty soon, and that should free up some strength as well. The home defense fleet, let's put them on blockade as well. We'll have them blockade the northern side of the region. Don't like this. Don't like this. Still trying to build up the necessary supply. Don't like that. We were good a second ago. What happened? Was it genuinely the Suez Canal Force? The answer may surprise you. No, it's only the regular army in the United States Marine Corps. Okay. A tumultuous campaign. Whilst campaigning for the Democratic Party in the turmoil-racked District of Columbia, Clifton Jones has been attacked and brutally beaten by a group of unknown assailants. Stay hydrated, kids. When the crowd cleared and the screaming stopped, all that was left in the street was his prostrate form, bruised, cut, and barely recognizable as the Titan he represented not 5 minutes before. Where are we at this election? It's tough. Some rest and recuperation will be best. He becomes scarred, minus 20% momentum for the Democrats. Get back to the trail right away. He becomes wounded, plus 20% momentum for the Democrats. Or, of course, we know who it was. It was us. Reduces electoral confidence by 5%. He becomes wounded and shell-shocked. And 30% momentum reduction for the Democrats. This is extreme. He's a modernizer aligned with the Liberals. We'll just give him some rest and recuperation. See how that goes. You know, this number's getting worse and worse every day. I think I'm going to queue in some munitions plants. Not too many. We'll just go with a couple. We'll go with 4 in Pennsylvania and 4 in New York. And what we'll do is we'll put them at the bottom of the logging camps. I am going to build up these naval admins, y'all. They do need to be built. I just want to get those rolling fast. Now, the Devil's Paintbrush. Lieutenant General Henry Barber's use of dedicated machine gun teams in the Russia versus Persia war has yielded advantageous results on the field of battle, leaving full platoons of enemies dead before they've even reached our lines. If anyone told me that it would be possible to make a gun that would pull a cartridge belt into position, pull a loaded cartridge out of it, move it to the front of the barrel, thrust it into the barrel, close the breech in a proper manner, cock the hammer, pull the trigger, fire off the cartridge, extract the empty shell, and throw it out of the mechanism, feed a new cartridge into position, and do all these things in the 10th of a second, I would not have believed it. But now I have seen it with my own eyes. So he is leading the regular army. Whatever happens, we have got the Maxim gun and they have not. 20% extra defense for 2 years, or his mastery of this tool is unparalleled, he becomes a stalwart defender. I'm going to go with that second one. Permanent bonuses are generally preferable. Now, I think a naval invasion with the expeditionary force is the right call from here. I believe the troop transfer fleet can handle it. They've got enough capacity for 60 battalions. So that's what we're going to do. And I really hope the supply thing checks out. Oh my gosh, what is this? What is this? Too many of the other stuff. Gosh, dang it. It's only by a little bit. Let's grab... Oh, the Army of Observation needs more leadership. Let's grab the Western Coastal Defense Force. We'll move 2 units of conscript lancers. There. Perfect. Alright. Now, let's get our naval invasion on. We want to go to the home counties. We want to take the troop transfer fleet. We're going to pray for rain, that solves the Britain problem. As I desperately attempt to build up enough supply for overseas action. Naval invasion where? Over here. Delightful. Western Coastal Defense Force, head to Washington to defend. God's will. Why are my industrialists so many? Oh, because we're in a war with Britain. That's right. Army of Observation. Sherman, my boy. You're a major general now. Dabney Warland of the Evangelicals has been seen preaching in favor of the Democratic Party, convinced that their victory has been foreseen in God's plans. Do you think that God would not have a plan for our pious nation? Of course there is a plan. There must always be a plan. I've seen it myself, let me tell you, and I've seen it as clear as I see you all right now, just before my eyes. And who else to lead this adrift government other than those who can clearly read that plan? Who are we to stand against God's will? Stronger evangelicals? Such a shame the nation is not ruled by God then, he loses popularity. Or, but surely God wants the Republican Party to win. 10% momentum for them. The Republicans are way down at the bottom of the track here. I'm just going to do the second one to cost him some popularity, and we'll see how things go from there. Alright. Famine. Where? Herat. Wait, hold on. DC. No, Trucial Coast. Probably because of being cut off the market by a shortage of supply. But that is what it is. I can't do anything about that right now. We're winning in Russia. Does Russia have war support protection? They do. Oh, we're not taking Mazandaran and Turkmenia yet. Turkmenia is here. And Mazandaran is here. Alright, so Marine Corps, your objective is Turkmenia. Regular Army, your objective is Mazandaran. Hopefully that'll get us what we need and I won't be too goofed up. Now there is an enemy army here. We'll see if we can punch through that. Force comparison's good. But obviously things are tough over here. We are winning on defense though. We are slowly fixing our hardwood problem. In fact, our hardwood problem is fixed already. So, well, we'll just finish out this set of logging camps. Those need to be built. And after that, we'll work on the munitions plants, and then we'll work on powering Canada. Let's put 5 of the naval administrations up ahead just to get those ready to go. The money I am spending on this war is absurd. I am completely bankrupting my government right now. Once the election happens, we'll see what kind of a legitimacy I can swing with my administration, and then we'll go from there. Okay, this force comparison has gotten a lot worse. I may need to break off this naval invasion depending on how things go, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We are improving in terms of the supply situation. We are winning an offensive battle in Mazandaran, so that's good. Dealing in arms. The establishment of munitions plants in New York ensures an abundant supply of ammunition for the United States of America. I resent the term arms dealer. It implies that I am no more than a cynical profiteer, benefiting from the suffering of my fellow man. Nothing could be further from the truth. What I do guarantees peace and security, not only in the United States of America, but throughout the civilized world. If you want peace, prepare for war. I'm on the dynamite method, right? Yeah, or explosive shells. Yeah. Okay. Logging camps are done. Munitions plants are getting built. Power plants are getting built. Looks like the munitions problem has been closed out. Munitions are still expensive, though, and we're a little bit on the edge, so I'm going to continue to build that up. Can you... I guess there's no supporting naval invasions. Let's put you on port bombardment here, though. Let's cause a little devastation, shall we? Alright. Enemy does appear to be winning this battle. We'll see what happens later on. At the very least, I'm hoping this dilutes the enemy presence at other fronts. Zebulon Dayton has lost the election. Zadok Peck is our new leader. Democratic Party got 57% of the vote. With that having been said, the Socialist Party is still generally pretty legitimate. I think we're going to pull in the... A lot of angry people in this party. I think I'm going to need to hike taxes. So I'm going to bring in the Democratic Party to do that. And we'll put the Socialists out, and we'll see how things go next election. But for now, this is going to create a wave of radicalization, but that's just what's going to have to happen. Because I got too much I got to do that takes money. Alright. Turkmenia, 75% occupation. Mazandaran, 50% occupation. If we can continue to move forward there, we'll be good to go. Block leader mandate. Excellent. Okay, we're all maxed out, so I don't need any additional mandates. So I can change up whenever I wish, if I wish, but other than that, we should be good. How's the Atlantic Fleet? Atlantic Fleet is doing a little rough on supply, but for hit points, they're fine. We are losing some supply ships, but that's just going to have to be what it is. Alright, that number being read, problem. Too much of a problem. Shortage of bureaucracy. Because the petite bourgeoisie are not happy anymore. Alright, need to deal with that. Let's go ahead and build up... Oh, golly, this is actually a force. Nope, it wasn't actually a problem, they just weren't at the front. Not sure why they weren't at the front, but it is what it is. 4 levels of bureaucracy here. We'll do... We got plenty in Montana. Actually, let me take a look at where we're short. That's usually... That's how I should be doing it all the time, frankly. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then another round to all the ones that are below 20. Alright, that should be plenty. That should be plenty. I really want to get Yoruba National Awakening. Cool. Maybe I will put... Oh, this is bad. Oh. What happened to you? You're out of supply. Shit. Regular army's starting to be out of supply too. Urgh. Urgh. Okay. Marine Corps? Okay, here's what I think we're going to do. Alright, this battle's done. I think we're going to cancel this naval invasion. Oh, that's going to put them here in France. Oh, that's not great. Alright, that's okay. Okay, come on, troop transfer fleet. Let's go. Let's stop faffing about. Alright. You're transporting them to France, correct? No, where are you going? You are transporting them to France. Alright. No, you're not? You're going over there. Alright, anyway. Things are very silly over here. Let's get the Marine Corps back to the United States. And then we'll figure out what to do. This force comparison is making me really nervous. Marine Corps is still taking up stuff. Alright, expeditionary forces in France. Now they do need supply. It feels like every time I turn around, the regular army has more supply needs. And I don't know what to make of that. Let's throw a few more of these naval administrations at the top of the queue. Again, I just need to keep my navies in force. Pacific Fleet. You know, you could be helping out some. Yeah, I think we shall. I think we shall have you do that. Oh my goodness, we're not paused. Arrgh! Port bombardment. Let's put you on... Oh. Sorry. Port bombardment. Let's have you bombard ports in India. Let's have you cause a problem. We are rather losing supply ships all over the place. Let's put... Okay, so the Portsmouth Station fleet's a large fleet. Let's put both of our best fleets... Wait, no. On interception off the coast, and we'll try to take out the Portsmouth Station fleet. Because that's something I've got to solve. Beautiful, there's electric railways. Excellent. Northwestern Defense Force, you're on this front, right? Okay, you're on it now. Beautiful. Russia is losing this war. We've got all our war goals. So, as long... Oh, for Pete's sake. Somehow the fronts have broken up. This one is the one I need to hold. Russia's losing war support at 5. Because I need to... Man, I'm just going to do my best over there, I guess. Alright. We've got a fleet on our way over here. Home Defense Fleet defeated it. But where? How? They weren't doing anything. Urgh. This front is also making me feel concerned. Alright. Expeditionary Force. Let's put you on the front and see if we can't stabilize things. Establish the photographic arts completed. Wonderful. Captured light and shadow. The interest in photographic arts throughout the United States of America has spawned many new artistic movements experimenting with the technology. It can perhaps seem too harsh to capture reality as the human eye perceives it without any of the love or mercy of the human heart softening the image. However, by moving that responsibility from the artist to the observer, we hope to make people more aware of the contents of their own hearts. This should be a tool of reporters everywhere, extra tech spread for society. It should be used to capture the beauty of the United States, extra migration attraction, or we should put efforts towards making these pictures come alive. Get those pictures moving! Let's do tech spread for society. That's good. Alright, war with Russia's almost over. Troop transfer fleet has almost managed to get... Oh no, this is the home defense fleet. Where are the Marines? Where are the Marines? They're here. Huh, I thought they were further on in their exit from the war zone. Alright. So we're defending over here. We're trying to knock out the enemy fleet, because that's an important thing to get done. Home defense fleet is on its way back. It needs to be repaired. Okay. I don't have the ability to manually add stuff to the repair queue. So that is what it is. Alright, we're on the naval administrations now. So, let's get the government admin in at the top. That'll help with our money problems. It won't solve them, but it will help. And we'll get rolling from there. Russia is almost shoved out of this war. Almost. Unfortunately, the enemy is pushing forward over here. Which means I need to defend that, because if I don't, then they lose... Oh my gosh. See, this... Okay, France has bailed out of the war. Alright. That's fine. That does fix up our supply problems some, though. Expeditionary Force is now going to move across country to this front. Okay, that's curious. I really wish... Where's Merv? There's cars. There's Turkmenia. Here's Merv. Do we not have complete control of Merv? I guess we don't. So this is actually the front I need to be on. And we'll set Merv as our strategic objective, I guess. On the other hand, it would be really nice if Persia could simply finish... If y'all could simply make peace over here. Because I feel like I could be in a much better spot. Where are you going, buddy? Beautiful. Alright, return Turkmenia. Alright, we got Turkmenia. Perfect. Alright, so that's good. This army is on their way home. Which, you know, could be better, but it is what it is. Are you in a battle? Battle log. Okay, it looks like I am... I feel strongly that I'm winning in this battle. Let's... Yes, it looks like I'm winning. So hopefully that should drive them away. Okay, I think I may have gone a little buck wild with armies. I think I've learned something important today. Declaration of Edo has dissolved. Is that because I don't have a fleet over there anymore? No. Because Japan lost their civil war and they're a republic now. Interesting. Well, I would still like to be friends. How much devastation have I inflicted on India at this stage? Not that much, to be completely honest. Alright. We're going to see... Okay, so, I think... Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Invasion Washington. I still got an army there. Invasion Oregon. Alright, so I'm going to need another one of my defense forces over here. Let's move the Southern Coastal Defense Force here. Let's move the Western Coastal Defense Force here. Now, I've got two fleets to play with. Alright. Now, the Atlantic Fleet has driven off the Portsmouth Station fleet. So now I'm going to station them in New York to be repaired. The troop transfer fleet I need to use to transport the regular army. They need to return from exile. Okay. Okay, so they're going to go to American Hormuz. So, let's actually get the troop transfer fleet over here. Cannot reach Hormuz. We'll get them to Somalia, at least. Ah, because Britain's holding the American Trucial Coast. Okay, well that's okay. That'll be fine. Let me see. I think I'll leave the home defense fleet where they are to keep defending the home. Constantine is in default. Really, Russia? You want trade privileges, huh? %45 chance they say yes. They said no. It is what it is. Alright, there's corporate governance. So that should give us room for another company. And you know I'm going with another canal company. Because I love those. Alright. Force comparison here is quite bad, but we should be supplying these units now. let's set this fleet protecting supply lines in these regions. Hopefully that will simplify our supply situation. Because I think that may be our issue. I think we may have enemy ships raiding these areas. Oh, multilateral alliances. Wonderful. We've completed the Urbanize the United States mission. Alright, so you're here. Let's transfer you to this front. We'll take the troop transfer fleet. They'll have to go in 3 runs, and that'll be fine. Persia colonized Turkmenia. Wonderful. Where is the expeditionary force right now? Cool. Alright, so they're getting on the front. They're low in organization and supply, but they'll be supplied going forward as things go. Alright, so we are allocating supply ships to them. Yeah, I know they are. I wonder if actually... What if we simply... can't move them for some reason. Okay, curious. Well, that is what it is. Wait, hold on. Okay, we're covering all 3 of these areas, so we should be going after all of those enemy fleets at this time. Let's get another fleet in there to support on that. We'll grab the home defense fleet. And we will change region. Not the Atlantic coast. We'll also cover these Mediterranean areas. I think that should work. So, where's the troop transfer fleet at? How are you doing? You've decided to not do the thing I asked you to do. Alright. Come on. Winds of change. Massachusetts has come a long way since our attention was first brought to it, going from small houses and scattered farmlands to being on its way to becoming a blooming metropolis. The woman sighs. Her cold hands stop crocheting for a second. When I was younger, all of this was farmland. Us kids would just play freely in the fields, not having to worry about getting hit by a cart or those criminals coming to get us. And we still had time to work. Well, Grandma, now people have even more places to work at. Finally, Massachusetts shines like never before. Extra loyalists from political movements. Or this is not the end, extra urban center throughput. You know I'm going to go with those loyalists. Alright, so regular army is on its way to the front. And they are getting there. Now we should be able to successfully supply them, so they should be gaining in organization as time goes by. Expeditionary Force needs a general. Let's go with Upton Adams. Let's go with Philip Glasscock. Alright, so that's fine. And then one of my other forces over here is going to need a general. And we'll put Adams in for him. Alright, so they're both gaining in organization right now. I don't know why both of these forces have decided to stay off the invasion points, but we're doing our best here. Now, the Ottoman Empire does have war support protection at present, but our ability to win is going up. 12th Army, where are you? Okay, you're still in the process of being transferred by the troop transfer fleet. Who are where? Buddy, what are you doing? Gosh dang it. Troop transfer fleet USOBs, get my boys to the front. That's so weird. Alright. Is our main fleet repaired? Not quite yet. We have an event, however. The Jimma Advocate. An explicitly partisan newspaper founded by members of the Hokan National Movement in Jimma has published its first issue. Between advertisements and political cartoons, it hosts ruthless critique of government policy. There was a certain brilliance to it. By printing it on the cheapest paper, by skimping on ink, by flooding it with advertisements in large text, one could produce a profitable paper for only a penny per copy, whilst its competitors sold for 5 to 10 times that amount. By making that paper relentlessly and shamelessly endorse a certain viewpoint, one could have every working person in the city aware of it by evening. If one's competitors refused to stoop that low, they would become responsible for their own suffocation. How long can a partisan paper last? Stronger Hokan National Movement? Or is that so? Deny them a printing license. Weaker Hokan National Movement, but more active. Hokan National Movement, where are you at? I'm not worried about that. They can be stronger. Alright, troop transfer fleets on their way back to do their freaking job. Didn't I assign another fleet to protect supply lines over here? What's going on with you, Home Defense Fleet? Oh, you're still being repaired. That's what's going on with you. Okay. Pacific Fleet. You're going to protect supply lines. Alright, and I'm going to see if that solves our problem. What are you doing over there, Troop Transfer Fleet? Gosh dang it. Get the boys. Oh, weird. Okay, so... Okay, I think here's what's happening. I think these boys are being error-handled to the nearest area that the troop transfer fleet has access to. I think that's what's going on. I wish you could station armies in a state and have them automatically protect against coastal invasions. Because that used to be a thing that was happening, and it was good. Alright, so... I'm still spending a lot of money, but it could definitely be worse. I am paying a lot in interest, though. I'm definitely going to need to... I've stopped building using government funds, and that's been good. Oh, cripes. That... Ha 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 ha, my repair queue. Oh man, I'm so good at video games. So smart and cool. Alright, and they should be transferring into the regular army now, and they certainly are. Alright, so now, troop transfer fleet goes... Oh, they're just error handling themselves. They're plotting their route. Luca is in default. Okay. Home defense fleet is now repaired. Alright, perfect. Naval invasion Louisiana, alright. Western Coastal Defense Force, please go to the naval invasion. Southern Coastal Defense Force, please go to Louisiana and await the naval invasion. This is looking a little gnarly. I'm going to send a second army here to protect this. Oh, lovely. Another invasion in Texas. Alright. Put that army there to deal with that. So again, having these fleets here should... Sargasso Sea. Weird. I don't know what to make of that. Alright. And then we'll grab the 11th Army. We'll move them over to the front via the troop transfer fleet. And that'll be what it is. Alright. Enemy naval invasions have landed. There we go, and then there'll be a second in Texas in a moment. Try to stay on defense for now. Actually, we'll go to regular defense because adamant defense consumes extra supplies. Although we should be fine in terms of supply. We've got plenty of supply ships available now. All right, just got to keep eyes on all this other stuff. Hey, I'm positive in cash flow. Alright. I need to move some units over here to the rear front. I don't know what happened to this front. Things were going pretty well there for a while. Anyway, these forces should be being thoroughly supplied now. Where is my troop transfer fleet? They're somewhere, that's for dang sure. Okay, they're on their way back to the United States. So, I've got plenty of supply. I think the answer to this situation is we're going to put the Marine Corps back in the front now that they're fully supplied. No, we're not, because they're huge supply hogs. Why is the regular army only taking 6k supply? Well, they're doing okay with what they're doing, so maybe it's because they're on defense. Let's grab the army of observation. No, that's stupid. That's really foolish. We'll grab the Northeastern Coastal Defense Force, and we'll transfer them to the front. What I need is a fleet that can blockade. Is that right? Is that what I need? Actually, I think... I just need some more regular ships. Alright. Let's go armored cruisers. We'll add... Let's see, we're at 61. I want to be at 80, so we'll add 19. And then 40, 80, and this will be 30. Alright, now we're using our stuff. Alright, this is going better, and this front is goofing up the Cyrenaica situation. So, these guys can be on advance because the force comparison here is actually pretty good. See another naval invasion. Both of them are waiting. Atlantic Fleet, let's put you on... Let's put you blockading Britain. We'll see what comes of that. I think fixing up my supply here was the right call. Assigning a bunch of fleets to work on supply here. I think that was smart. I think that was the right decision. I'm still having a little bit of a hard time, but I'm doing pretty well on defense. So let's take a look at things. Britain is losing war support slowly. Germany is losing war support faster. Britain does not have war support protection. I have war support protection. Canada does not have war. Canada does have war support protection, and then of course our allies. No, Egypt is not negotiating, but they do have war support protection. All right, beautiful. So we'll see what comes of that. All right, the Atlantic fleet's here blockading Britain. Gonna go 7% blockade efficiency. Okay. What does that mean? Blockade mission. How can I see what's going on here? How can I see if I'm doing it? It says you're going to go to 7%. 7.93%. 7.93 thousand strength versus a lot of resistance. Okay, maybe I'm misunderstanding how this works. I think I'm going to give it another month. And if that doesn't change, I'm going to change my tactics. Okay, it looks like these fronts are actually going really well. So we may have the enemy on the ropes over here. We are successfully defending over here. Obviously, a lot of our armies are pretty low in strength. But the regular army is fully strengthened and fully supplied. I think it's going to be a lot more difficult to supply them once they're on offense, though. The expeditionary force is on that front, because those are all one front now. And we're not currently being invaded. Troop transfer fleets over here in the Pacific for some reason. Army of Observation needs a leader. Let's see. Let's go with Ulysses Kebelt. And you're probably going to need a promotion. You're going to need another promotion? No. Now, I've got the troop transfer fleet available. So yeah, let's move... Oh, because they never transferred the Northeastern Coastal Defense Force. Alright, so... that should get them going there, right? Yes, okay, they're going. They're going this way, but that's okay. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, the Ottoman Empire collapsed. They're having a radical revolt right now in the middle of the war. Excellent. Alright, Germany is out. Beautiful. Alright, let's get moving. Advance. And advance. So I'm going to set them to pillage, because, man, heck if we do some damage. And let's see what that does to my supply situation. Okay. Alright. Maybe it was just the distance going through all this area? I'm not sure. But I'm feeling pretty good. In any case, my takeaway from that is I definitely needed more now the absolute big brain move would be to side with the revolt, but I don't have sufficient interest here, so I can't do that. Now. Okay. So I think if we can get some amount of Ottoman territory, we should be good to go. Like, I think if we can get Syria here, like, I think as long as you're holding any territory, it might need to be core territory, but it might not be. I think as long as you're holding enemy territory, you can win. Now, is Britain a negotiating participant in this thing? They are, but they don't have war support protection because I'm holding our only war goal against them, which is the rock here. Okay, now once again get Western Defense Force on the state being invaded. Where are they invading? Nunavut. Okay. Once again, put you here. Yeah, it's definitely on the Nunavut side of the line. Hopefully that should lead to them going to this front. You know, once the invasion starts. Man, this invasion mechanic, it's hard to deal with. We are pushing forward on this side as well. Constantine is in default. We're working on getting back Aleppo, but more importantly, we're getting Syria. Okay, here we go. Go to the front! That's not the button I want. Y'all are not going to be happy if I use that button. Alright. Getting more cruisers in there. Alright, speaking of which... Am I blockading Britain right now? No, it doesn't seem like I'm blockading Britain right now. 57% presence. 39.7k at full presence. And presence just takes time, right? So I think 7.94k. Okay, I think that's... Okay, so I think the area will be fully blockaded at 93k, but I think I'm going to go up in presence, and this is my... 40k is my maximum presence. So if I want to do a full blockade here, I'm going to need a lot more fleets. With that having been said, holding the Mediterranean, I've got everything I need, so to do what I need to do in this war, so I think that's going to be fine. If I can continue to move forward in Syria, which I should be able to. Okay, now we're starting to be near the edge on supply, but we're okay. Alright, so now we've got a hold of... No, it just the icon moved. That's what happened. Okay, alright. It's fine. We're fine. I'm going to move the expeditionary force back to this front to get that front moving faster. And we've got an invasion in California. I will send the Western Defense Forces in Canada. I'll send the Eastern Defense Force there to handle it. Alright, we're holding... It looks like we're holding all of North Africa at this stage. We're winning battles here very handily. Where's the current Ottoman capital? Vendgar? Oh, okay, the Ottomans are still holding Ankara. Alright. Condemn slavery. Our rival, the Netherlands, continues to practice slavery. We could easily condemn them on the world stage for this. The fact that this sick, disgusting, and depraved practice is allowed to continue anywhere in the world is a slight to humanity itself. We must condemn this practice strongly and publicly, as soon as possible. We must condemn it. Costs us a little influence, but knocks out their prestige real bad. We don't want to upset them. Intelligentsia unhappy. I'm going to do the first one. Condemn it. Condemn it good. Alright, so now we're holding north of 50% of Syria, which means we can do our Humiliate CB. We've got our little by little event. I'm just going to say we'll make Americans a vignette. I don't feel like reading that event again. right now while we're in the middle of a war. Ew. Socialist revolt in Russia. Probably fine. That's never led to a problem before. How's the power block? Oh, cripes. Oh my goodness. It's Persia, isn't it? It's Persia, isn't it? Monarchy and autocracy. Hey, Persia! I can't regime change them because they haven't been in this thing long enough. Alright, well, we'll try to do it the nice way. Oh, they're in the midst of a war already over the modernization. Alright, that's fine. Can't afford to deal with that right now. Alright, got an army in that area. We are winning the war. We are winning the war here. If the Ottoman Empire is forced to bail out, they will simply grant the humiliate CB, and then and Britain should fall out soon enough. All right, so there's the war goal there. The British are still technically in it. All right, let's start getting our units home. We'll move the expeditionary force home first, because I can get them home all at once with the troop transfer fleet. I think the moral of the story is the troop transfer fleet needs more ships. So let's put 20 troop ships in there, and we'll put 20 armored cruisers in there as well. How is the Atlantic Fleet doing? The Atlantic Fleet's doing well. I think the moral of this story is that I need an area denial fleet. So I'm going to form that on the Atlantic coast, same as the others. We'll recruit an admiral. Moses Saxon seems like the guy. So pre-dreadnoughts, blockade strength. Can't see it here. Okay, that's weird. Maybe they don't have any. Torpedo boat destroyers? No. Screening vulnerability? That can't be it. Oh, you know what? I don't have a torpedo boat destroyer template. We'll do what we usually do. Okay, that's curious. I think cruisers and torpedo boat destroyers might be the way to go. So let's put 20 of them here. Oh, we'll name this the Trade Interdiction Fleet. And then, our torpedo boat destroyers. We'll add 20, and we'll see what kind of blockade strength a fleet like that has. Heck it, I clicked too many times, we're going all the way to 40. Alright. With Britain pushing out, they still would not give us the rock. Alright. So that's the naval invasion in California. That's still coming in. How is the investment pool? Investment pool is draining. But they're mostly full. Oil in North Dakota, very cool. Dang, if only I could have held out until Russia had collapsed, I could have gotten a whole lot of stuff. Western Coastal Defense Force has low organization. What's wrong with your supply? Come back here. Low supply because it's cold. Okay, so we've gotten political agitation. Give us a little bit more authority. Oh, and that was going to start a... I was going to start myself a feminist movement until I realized that I'm not going to start a feminist movement because I don't... I've already got women's suffrage. All right, we got electrical capacitors. We got electric railways. First things first, let's... For urban centers, let's go to electrified streets. Oh, you know what? I need to electrify states outside the United States. Outside of here. I can do electric trains, but I'm not going to do that yet. Because I don't think I've got the power infrastructure to support it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody in the car, so come on, let's ride. Blue Nile as well. Alright, Britain should be willing to bail out before too long. Alright, now we're starting to build up presence. We got a 12% blockade. Yeah, I guess building up presence is really, really slow. Okay, so for future reference, I need to be building presence sooner and faster. All right, Suez Canal Force, you can return here. Army of Africa, you can return back to your home area. Northeastern Coastal Defense Force, I'm going to have you return... Well, I'm going to hold the supply defense fleets in here for now. I think Britain is mostly protecting their fleets. Oh my goodness, they've come again. Alright. There's the Ceylon fleet finally landed. We'll put you here. Alright, conquer the rock. Thank you. And that's a successful war. So, Canada, my buddy, my lad. Where are you? What would you like for Newfoundland and Labrador? Perhaps cash money? $8K a week. Is this wise? I don't think this is wise. Tell you what. Any laws I would like you to commit to? Not really. Anything I would like from you? Not really. Yukon, maybe. Tell you what. In exchange for an obligation. Transfer subject, can't transfer subjects. Transfer ships. Any ships? None that I would want. In exchange for an obligation, and because we're best bros, the rock. Beautiful. Now Canada is united. Whew. What a fight. Alright, I don't need those fleets there anymore. Alright, and all of our armies are getting back to where they're supposed to be. You, not yet. So we'll need to figure that out as time goes by. Alright, Northeastern Coastal Defense Force, you've only got one unit. I'm going to have you take the Pacific Fleet back home. Alright, and now trade is flowing through the straits once again. And we've got an event. The Devil's Railroad. Why are the evangelicals so mad? Because they hate women's suffrage. Workers on the railway in Gondar are dying in droves of the harsh malarial conditions and extreme demands placed upon them. We've seen this event before. It's too high a price to pay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Uniform moves. Alright. Or no, we're going to go to no enemies. Are we making bank from this area? A little bit. A little bit. Am I only charging tolls on one side? There we go. Perfect. Alright. And then this should be the same as the Suez Canal. Which it is. And then what about the Panama Canal? Plenty of tolls going this way. Alright. How much transport capacity does the Atlantic Fleet have? So much. Alright, regular army. Come home. It's time. Pacific Fleet needs an admiral. Thomas Peabody. I don't think your name is stupid. Come and join the thing. Oceanic Fleet needs an admiral. Jan Lefebvre. Do I have any other forces that are overseas? The Army of Africa is overseas. The Expeditionary Force is in Texas. The regular army is on their way back. The Army of Observation is up there. The Coastal Defense Forces are where they want to be. Western Coastal Defense Force, let's station you out in the west. Southern Coastal Defense Force will station you in the south. Eastern Coastal Defense Force, you're fine where you are. Northeastern Coastal Defense Force will station you in the northeast. Alright. We're almost done building the stuff we need to build. Home Defense Fleet, you can return. Oceanic Fleet, you can return. Well, what a fight. How long has it been? We spent an hour and a half and about 3 years in a lot of wars, which were ended abruptly by the Ottoman Empire devolving into civil war. Leverage situation's a little dangerous here with the power block. Oh. Hejaz is unhappy with me. Let's improve relations. Hold on, actually. Is Egypt also an autocratic monarchy? They're not. Okay. I'm going to leave those be for now. How long till I can regime change Persia? That's my real question. 2 years. Ugh, it's going to be a tough... They might fall out of the power block, honestly. Will this get us some leverage? Generates involvement, but not... Yes, it will get us leverage. Military access should get us a leverage. What if we give them some cash? No. Non-piracy agreement, I don't necessarily need that. Let's send the proposal. I want to keep my leverage up. Because my leverage point... Okay, alright. That should... Because I need to not fall below 0. That's my goal here. Until I can regime change them and get them solid and back where I need them to be. Because I can't force them to change their distro power laws. Only their governance principles. Until I can regime change them. So... I am going to improve relations with Russia. I wish... Well, I don't know. I don't think the game necessarily needs a non-aggression pact mechanic. How am I doing with my cash flow? Paying 17k in interest, that's not bad. Credit 133 million. That's terrible, but it is what it is. A stable supply of power. The recent expansion of the power plants in Tennessee has inspired faith in a future where all of the United States of America is electrified. Tapping the power of the roaring rivers and waterfalls by transforming it into the power of a thunderstorm must be a sign that we're approaching the final stage of man's mastery over nature. Are we ready? Morally, intellectually, spiritually? It matters not. It is coming. Options are unlimited power for 33% power plants throughput, or there must be other ways to produce electricity. Free progress on steam turbine. You know I'm going for that progress on steam turbine. I love the steam turbine tech. So good. Just refilling my water here before we continue. You know, it may seem unreasonable the amount of water I drink, but like, you know, it's a 3-hour session. I gotta stay hydrated. I'm not a teenager anymore, my nerds. I am not a teenager anymore. And I just have to hydrate so bad. Ugh. Alright, so there are a few more areas I need to electrify. Panama, Guyana. And then I think the actual answer is I want to electrify the rest of the power block. All of our subject states can be electricity-bearing places. I think that's just sensible. Gosh dang it. Stupid Persia. Alright, so what does that put my breakpoint? It's way higher. It's way higher. But I need to swap Hejaz out of monarchy. That's interesting. I thought they couldn't leave until they were below... I didn't realize... I thought they couldn't leave until they were below, like... You know... 50, like, below 0. But I've been wrong before, and I will be wrong again. Interesting. Huh. This is funny. The radical revolt is actually... Seems like they're kind of winning, even against Britain and all their allies. Well, I guess Britain are kind of pushovers these days. I'm way ahead of them now. So... Building a bunch of armored cruisers and torpedo boat destroyers. What do I need technologically? I'm going for radio. That's going to help by letting me use siege artillery. Let's get steam turbine after that. And then the Grand Theater of Havana. Ooh, that's in the power block. Ooh, but I really need plastics. We're going to go for plastics. And that should be all the urgent stuff that I need. Okay, so now, the next thing I need to do is I need to get all the... Ooh, I've got automotive industries. Excite bike. That's fun. Oil and Dongola. I am in urban. That's where I want to be. Okay, where am I producing my motors? Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, Iowa, and South Carolina. So, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, Iowa, South Carolina. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, Iowa, South Carolina. So once these power plants are built, we'll go over to electric motors, and that'll be fun. We're still doing well in terms of cash flow. Supply ship supplies are good. Actually, I'm going to go to 3/4 supply ship construction. Do a promotion. The armed forces demand the promotion of Major General Ulysses Kebold, touting his history of loyal and effective service. Kebold? Seabolt? I'll never know. So many medals adorned his jacket that one could scarcely see the fabric beneath, but it was not yet enough. Chest puffed out with pride, the general smiled as he imagined the look on Barber's face when the lieutenant general learned of his imminent ascension. Their rivalry was legendary among the officers. At last, he would have his due. Ulysses Kebold has earned it, happier armed forces, or the armed forces will not force our hand. Armed forces unhappy, he loses popularity, yeoman farmers happy. Just gonna make me happy armed forces. I am still on high taxation, but I think this electrification is important. These two are going to leave the armed forces are going to join the Republican Party. The evangelicals are going to leave the Democratic Party. We'll see what comes of that. Empire of Korea having a civil war. I don't think I can get involved in that, can I? I might be able to, actually. No, because I have a truce with them. Republic of Japan. Let's be better friends. Okay. So investment rights should be here somewhere. Here. Ah, you would like investment rights, would you? Lovely. Beautiful. I think I own a significant part of their economy. Yeah. 17.5%, 100 levels. Perfect. How is my investment pool doing? It's doing okay. It's doing alright. It's doing just fine. Ship construction, we're just building these smaller ships at this point. Troop transfer fleet needs an admiral in it. Let's go with Nathaniel Kirk. And the trade interdiction fleet. Low in organization and low in supply, but that will sort itself out as time goes by. Once this production stuff is done, I'm going to snag military aviation, and then the submarine, and then the dreadnought. And that should be plenty of tech to research. Okay, this is from low, from having too much tech in the queue. That's what that is. Oh, beautiful. Central planning. Excellent. Extra government dividends efficiency. That's nice. Don't I have places where I can build gold mines? I think I do. I sure do. Let's build those fast. All this other stuff. As long as Canada doesn't fall out of my market, I'll be happy. I don't want to build gold mines in France. I was going to go after Ethiopia. Next country, 14.1 infamy. That's probably enough. Let me see. Egypt might step in. I will not be bothered if they do. Let's do it. Alright. That situation should sort itself out. I now have some infamy to play with, but that's okay. How is Egypt doing? They're low in Liberty Desire. I am going to turn them into a puppet. Hajjaz is just pretending to have left the situation. Speaking of which, get your subject payments reduced. Interesting. They're actually going up in Liberty Desire a little bit. Curious. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, some from clout, some from army power projection. How? How is that possible? My army's huge. Oh, right. Because I'm not a... Because I don't maintain a professional army, so their army power projection is actually higher than mine. Or close to higher than mine. Anyway, it's fine. Anyway, they're going down now. Something else changed. Probably prestige, I guess? Something? Unclear. It's unclear. It's not clear to me, at least. Maybe our agreement's just kicked in. Anyway, it's no problem. So now that I've got hold of this area, I can advance to the west across Central Africa and start taking these other countries. And that will be good. Oh, maybe it was just infamy. Yeah, it was infamy. Infamy was what done it. Gosh dang it. How's my power block now? Tell you what. Persia. Let's draft a treaty. Not toll exemption, but what about straight up money? Interesting. Okay, so the only way I'm going to be able to do this is to actually just puppet Persia, which is a shame because I really did want to have them in my market. Which is sad. I'm very sad now, but that's okay. These things happen. Right, getting our torpedo boat destroyers built. So now that we have this fleet partially built, the trade interdiction fleet, you have no blockade strength. Hold on. Let's put you on mission over there, and then we'll see what happens. I heard an event popping up. What is it? We're in an election. The Republicans are holding it. Wild. The Republicans with 74% momentum and 70% of the projected votes. Pay no attention to these vote numbers. They're not... It's weird. It's weird how the vote numbers are calculated. Don't worry about that. Wild. just wild. Next, the socialists with 19% of the vote, and below them the Democrats. So the Republicans have gotten the yeoman farmers and the armed forces. The evangelicals have bailed out, and the socialists are holding with just the trade unions. So that's wild. Let's see what becomes of it. Engaging the people. Augustin Paras has embarked upon a dedicated campaign to organize the poor urban workers in Indiana, shaping them into a cohesive, pro-Socialist Party of America voting bloc. If any man, woman, or child is neglected, abandoned, and left with no voice or hope, how can we say that the American nation is truly civilized? The people of Indiana are awakened. 30% momentum to the socialists. 5% of lowest-term pops in the entire country become more loyalist. Oh, that's very good. Electoral confidence increased by 5%. India gets lower class organization, minus 20% political strength from wealth. Or the strategy should be repeated nationwide. No loyalists, not as much momentum, but the entire country gets minus 5% political strategy from wealth. Let's go with the first one. Give me those loyalists. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, I'm delighted. 2 harms. Beautiful. All right. So Pennsylvania is mostly done. So let's get those motor industries changed over. You just think you're not going to be profitable, but you're going to be profitable. You're going to have profits out the wazoo. Do people still say out the wazoo? I don't know. Phineas Bradley intends to travel across New York by train to campaign for the Democratic Party. All I intend to do is present myself to the people. I'm just a simple man trying to get our party's message out by the best means available. Campaigning by rail is a smart move. Extra momentum to the Democrats. Reduced railway throughput. Or the fate of the nation depends on that train running on time. Significantly more momentum. Increased railway efficiency. I'm just going to do the first one because I don't necessarily want the Democrats to win here. They're all the way at the bottom of the track, and that's just going to dilute the votes of the leading parties. Ooh, oil in Guyana. Lovely. I love that. That's my favy. Netherlands, are you in a bad way? Luxembourgian anarchist revolt. Well, it is what it is. 42% chance that they say yes. Britain might step in if they don't. I would love Dutch Guyana, but let's go the easy way first. State transfer, Dutch Guyana. Very reasonable. Threaten naval hostilities, obviously. Cash? Start with 1,000. 1,000's looking good. 5,000 gets us 40. 10,000 gets us 60. 15,000. Okay, so we're topping out at 5,000. So 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 gets us 60. All right, we'll have to sweeten the deal with something. They don't want any of this other stuff. Really, they don't want toll exemptions or anything. That's quite curious. How about a boat? They don't want any of my boats. Huh. Quite curious. Quite curious. I wonder if Britain will be able to be involved. Britain is committed in a lot of different areas. If I do this, only Britain will be able to step in. Britain has a large fleet, but I have a larger one. A significantly larger one, in fact. I'm going to try it. It's almost a 50-50. Let's do it. Beautiful. Lovely doing business with you. In fact, I'm so happy. I'm going to cancel our rivalry. This Dutch army here, I don't need. Let's normalize production methods in Guyana. And then let's see what else we can build here. Let me see. Got some good arable land, oil, rubber, gold, nice. Very nice. So we've got fruit, coffee, and sugar capacity. Is there anything we are short on? So let me go a little slower here. Is rubber genuinely the most expensive thing in my market? Well, fair enough. Alright, in that case, obviously the first thing we need is rubber. From there, I'm going to tariff incoming rubber. Stupid, I should have tariffed it more. Let me see. Fruit. Seems good. Here's coffee. Coffee's quite cheap. Tobacco's quite cheap as well. Alright, so we're net coffee and tobacco exporters. We're net tool exporters. That's interesting. A lot of the rest of the world's using our tools. Very cool. How are we net wine importers? Tariff that. Alright, authorial intent. A minor scandal has buzzed around the Republican Party as a piece of reformist fiction written by Clifton Jones in his youth has begun to circulate once more. Whilst enthusiastically written, that is the work's only merit. A plague of superstition and dogma was the end of the United States of America? If so, then why are the trains still running? How could they possibly have acquired the coal to fuel it? Your propensity to butcher your characters for cheap tragedy is nothing short of shameful. And to make matters worse, why would Victor ever not pursue Estrid's affections when they've known each other for so long? Do you have no eye for redeeming romance? A tragic tale, but there's no reason to harass him, reduce momentum. This is Jones's problem, not the party's. Not as much of a reduction in momentum, and he loses some popularity. Or this quality is reflective of the conservative repression of the arts. Half as much reduction in momentum, but 33% chance he becomes literary. I'm going to go with the third one. That's fine. It's a special option, but I wasn't paying close enough attention to tell you what unlocked it. Alright, we've almost finished taking out Ethiopia. Oh, I love water. Very silly. So sad, Persia. What? You can stake colonial claims on nations that exist? That are centralized? That's bananas. How did our infamy go up, I wonder? The rising of the women. The advocacy of Susan Anthony has led to the Democratic Party gaining greater electoral prominence among women. As we come marching in the beauty of the day, 1,000,000 darkened kitchens, 1,000 mill lofts gray, are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses. For the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we come marching, we battle too for men, for they are women's children, and we mother them again. Our days shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, but give us roses. For the election in the Democratic Party, 20% momentum for the Democrats, 10% increased dependent or enfranchisement, or for the strengthening of American democracy, extra dependent enfranchisement, 10% momentum for the Democratic Party. I'm going to go with the second one, because I don't want to give them as much momentum. Where are we? Republican Party is still projected to get 64% of the vote. And we're maxed out on mandates. Might be able to faction up with the socialists, who knows. That should be the end of the war in Ethiopia, and it is. We'll go ahead and reset production methods. Ice, electric streetlights. Perfect. And finally, there's Harar. No one's going to step in on this, which isn't shocking. We'll mobilize the Army of Africa to deal with it. Ethiopian Army. Don't need any of these irregular infantry. Go ahead and cancel that. Alright, perfect. So, the popularity contest. The eyes of the electorate have turned to the candidates that seek to acquire a position at the head of the government. As the election approaches, voters debate who would provide the best leadership for the United States of America. I quite like Carr, mused one of the men at the bar. I couldn't say what it is I agree with him on, but I think he has a good head on his shoulders. His neighbor spoke up. Enough to look past the company he keeps? Well, why not? God knows you could say the same of any of us. Nobody's better to handle a fool than his friend. Ephraim Carr is the man of the hour. Extra momentum for the socialists, and he becomes more popular. A term of Cephas Wheeler is what the country needs. Extra momentum for the Republicans, and he becomes more popular. Or Ichabod Glazier has the character for the job. Extra momentum for the Democrats, and he becomes more popular. We're going to go with Cephas Wheeler. He's my boy. That'll give some extra momentum to the Republicans, and that should get us rolling within a good ratio here. Yeah, there we go, 70%. All right. Columbia did ban slavery eventually. Nice. Any other things I want to change about their politics? They're not doing free speech. Rights of women could be better. Right of assembly. Do it. The Red Scare. Speaking of right of assembly, members of the Democratic Party have been vigorously warning voters against the Socialist Party of America's electoral campaign. First, they'll take your boss's house, and you'll thank them for it. You'll receive them as the promised savior and kneel before them. Then they'll take your neighbor's house, and you'll try to convince them. You'll say, but he's a good man. I know him. But it won't matter in the slightest. Then they'll take your car, and you'll think to yourself, well, it's fine. I don't need a car anyways. And you can guess what happens next? You know what'll happen next. These leftists are traitors to the nation. Reduce their momentum by 30%. The rhetoric here is needlessly alarmist. Reduce their momentum by 20%. Government interest groups -2 approval. Infiltrate their leadership. Costs us authority -50% momentum. Or they have every right to spread their ideals. Pissed off southern planters and petite bourgeoisie. 10% momentum. 10% momentum increase. I'm just going to say these lefters are traitors to the nation. It's just gonna reduce their momentum by a little bit, and that's fine. All right, Cephas Wheeler is the new president. The election has swept the Republican Party into leadership. I'm gonna let the weak turn over with lower taxes, and then we'll change up the government. Industrialists are now powerful. Trade unions are no longer powerful. Second verse, same as the first. And now we're in a righteous government. The industrialists are going to flee to the Democrats during the next election cycle. That's very funny. I'm very amused by this. All right. So, any changes I want to make to the structure of the government? I don't think so. I think I'm doing pretty well. Alright, let's take a quick look at our politics to see how things have changed. Yeah, industrialists crazy strong. Armed forces are pretty strong. I guess it's because we just fought a huge war, right? They're very prominent right now. That's right, we're working on the automotive industry. So New Jersey, you should be able to be doing electric engines. Ohio, you should be getting there as well. You just think you're unprofitable. Yeah, we're part of the way there. Actually, I should have waited, but that's okay. Police brutality. The use of extreme force is becoming increasingly common among police officers in Minnesota. The working class and socially conscious are rallying against the police as an institution. Scarcely a week passes without their committing some offense which disgusts everybody but the magistrates. Boys are bruised by their ferocity, women insulted by their ruffianism, and that which brutality has done perjury denies, and magisterial stupidity suffers to go unpunished. Police brutality is becoming one of our most venerated institutions. We cannot tolerate this behavior. When farmers and intelligentsia happier, and reduce law enforcement investment by one. Where the use of force is warranted, armed forces and petite bourgeoisie happier. 5% of lower sternum pops in Minnesota more radical. I'm going to do the first one. I can just increase it again. It's fine. Ooh, and I can increase home affairs by one. That's fun. The Republic of Japan appears to be having some kind of civil war. Japan, buddy, what's going on over there? Wow. Things are pretty rough. Still on rigid status order and still on warrior caste for peasant levies. No wonder you keep losing your civil wars. What's the proletarian revolt doing? They're doing the same thing. Gosh dang it. Well, it is what it is. Oh, that's right. I'm fighting a war in Africa. Haha, I nearly forgot. Yeah, Viki3 is running real slow, by the way. This isn't your computer. This is my computer that's making this go like this. How long were we recording here? We're at almost 2 hours. What's the rest of my agenda? Sorry, my whole sort of what am I out here for got completely blown away by the by having to fight this giant war. Let me see. How's the Atlantic Fleet doing? Wait, the Trade and Interdiction Fleet. Moses Saxon, you need a promotion. That's the end of that. Okay, so blockade strength is 4K at full presence. So that's not very much. Can I get a breakdown of what causes that? Is it just 1K for each torpedo ship? Hold on. Let me... My Atlantic Fleet could actually be larger. Hold on. Did I make this mistake again and use the default thing for my thing? I think I did. Alright. I did. Oh, I'm a goober. Alright. Let's retrofit those things. So, friends, sometimes you're just silly. Sometimes you're just silly. So we got 29 more ships. So if I take this fleet and I put them on blockade, well, actually, I shouldn't do that because they're okay. No, they're in the process of retrofitting. All right, perfect. So I put this fleet on blockade. They've still got 42.3K. They're increasing at a presence of like 2% per day. So maybe the presence problem was because I assigned too many regions? 43.2K, but where... How do I figure out where that comes from? Maybe it's actually in here somewhere. Attack damage, hull and crew. It's armor. Speed. Supply capacity. Patrol boats. This is blockade strength. Available to any non-torpedo boat ship. can't figure it out. Can't figure it out. In any case, I got an armored cruiser. Patrol boats are available. So, maybe... Can I use my existing one? Let me see. Let me check my existing my existing mod here. Mod 1885. We have extra stowage and armor. Alright, that makes sense. Excuse me? Hajjaz wants greater autonomy. Really? Why is your liberty desire so high? Cold relations and infamy. We are improving relations. You know what? Sure. You can be a protectorate. I'm okay with that. Alright. Someone's going after France. A Provence uprising. Wow. Hey, buddy, you need a hand with that? Alright, so, anyway, we were creating a ship. Create a ship template. This is going to be an armored cruiser. More armor, greater supply. And then we're going to add patrol boats. We're going to call this our trade interdiction. Interdictor. Create template. And that will be what goes into the trader interdiction fleet. In fact, let's set that as our cruiser template, and then we'll retrofit these cruisers, and then we'll add an additional 20 cruisers, and that'll get us some trade interdiction power. Alright, Atlantic Fleet, you're now at full presence. Alright. That having been said, you're going to be unassigned and back to New York. Or you're going someplace else. That's fine. That's fine. Where are you going? Well, no objections here. Troop transfer fleet. You have plenty of carriage capacity. Now, the 7th Fleet, you're still in the process of retrofitting. But you're almost done. So that should be fine. And then when these retrofits are complete, you should go back into the Atlantic Fleet. Nuba awakening in Blue Nile. Excellent. Egypt. You are not going down in Liberty Desire. Amazing. Amazing. Oh, right, because I've been on high infamy this whole time. Because I got infamy somehow. Bananas. Well, that's okay. These things happen. My westward march will continue one day. And then we got retro... Why do these cost so much? Maybe the changes are bigger, or maybe these ones just took a lot less time than I could have thought. Alright. In any case... Yeah, alright. So those are doing alright. Golly gee willikers, do I sure have a ton of shipyards. Paying 44k in interest. Wish I weren't, but them's the breaks, I guess. Almost done with all this power. stuff, which means Iowa can go to electric engines. And these are the ones in South Carolina, they can go to electric as well. And now it's time to bite the bullet and hit the, where's my railways? Are railways in urban now, or am I just silly? Here they are. Electric trains! Alright, who's not on electric? You can't hide from me. I've got a whole list. Yemen. Oh, right, because I keep taking canal zones. Okay, Yemen. Where else? Probably Hormuz. Nope, just Yemen. Alright, beautiful. Well, that tells me where I need power plants. That's the Trucial Coast. This is Yemen. Trucial Coast and Hormuz, too. Now, I will actually probably need a lot more power. Come on. I don't need to be here. I need to be... Ooh, more gold capacity in Colorado? Don't mind if I do. I need to be in this screen. Because I've just made electricity crazy expensive. Okay, New York. 10 levels. I'm not going to read all of this. We'll just sort by price and go from there. Because this is going to be very loud. Wow, I need a lot more in Iowa than I thought I was going to. Wisconsin's already having a few built. I'm just kind of building 10 in most cases where the demand is way higher than the supply. And we'll just kind of do our best. Whew. Lot of electrification to be done. I often wait. Oh my gosh, Sinai doesn't even have a level yet. I often wait until I've got the coal method. Ooh, there's radio. Excellent. American Amhara should be good to go. Some of these places are changing live, even as we do this. So I'm just kind of doing my best. Alright, now we're getting into places. Alright. So, radio. You know what that means. It's time to change up our electrics industry, which I should have. Yes, radio production. Lovely. So, that means... it is time to upgrade all my units. And I'm going to need a little bit more bureaucracy, but I should be able to get that by converting areas over to the new production method, because I believe I've got central planning. Yes, I do. And there we go. Excellent. So, shortage of radios, that's fine. The electric industry is still producing itself. And a Khan National Lake in the Gold Coast. Wonderful. So basically, I wasn't able to do siege artillery before because I didn't have enough radios. because I didn't have radios in my customs union. But now I've got radios in my customs union because my electrics industries are producing them. Home affairs investment going up. Wonderful. So now I should be able to have that no problem. And we're in the process of building up a bunch of power plants. Oh my gosh, Ohio's in turmoil. Of power plants so that we can get what we want to get with that. The Metropolitan Railway. The grand opening of the New York Metropolitan Railway was received with much celebration. In a speech, the president congratulated the engineers who made this possible. It is not only the railway that is electrified, but the whole of New York City. The streets are abuzz with citizens marveling at the wonders of technology, speculating about what new innovations will come to transform our lives for the better. The engineers deserve a reward, extra railway building throughput, 50% of engineers become more loyalist, or a railway with the envy of the world, extra railway throughput, and extra prestige. I'm just going to go with the engineers being happier. That should be fine. Still quite far ahead of the British. Alright, new fleet construction has finished. Let's continue to expand the trade interdiction fleet, shall we? A Harari army we don't need. Let's go ahead and reset production. Never mind. Beautiful. Trade interdiction fleet, we need another... Okay, now they're even. Moses Saxon, you need another promotion. So now, if I put you onto blockade, 15.7k. Okay, but the cruisers clearly generated a lot. Let's do an experiment. Let's put all the torpedo boat destroyers somewhere else. Okay, it went down, but not by that much. Okay, so I've misunderstood. The torpedo boat destroyers do not provide naval whatevers. Why are we at such high vulnerability here? Can I... Let me look at the templates. Let me look at the templates here. Pre-dreadnoughts have 200 vulnerability. Okay, so their vulnerability is quite high. 300 vulnerability, 16 screening. Armored cruisers, 12 vulnerability, 45 screening. Iron frigates, 5 vulnerability, 25 screening. And then modern ironclads, 180 vulnerability, 14 screening. And torpedo boat destroyers. Torpedo boat destroyers have quite high vulnerability. Interesting. Very interesting. So, the Atlantic Fleet is actually having... These are modern ironclads. So if I take, again, all these torpedo craft out into their own fleet... That actually does really improve my thing. Okay, alright. I've misunderstood how torpedo craft are meant to be used, I think. So I need a lot more... I need a lot more cruisers. Okay, so, the trade interdiction fleet. You need a bunch more cruisers. These two fleets are going to get consolidated. Okay, so these are still basically meant as like support ships for other fleets, which they were before. But I think my plan is I'm going to decommission these old torpedo boats. Because they're quite old. I got one of my original style torpedo boat destroyers. I'm going to decommission that. I'm going to figure out how to use that fleet. But the Atlantic fleet right now has a really high level of vulnerability. So, I think what I want... I think maybe... we'll call this the... we'll call this the Caribbean fleet. I might be spelling Caribbean wrong in front of the whole internet. So instead of that... no, you know what? If I spelled Caribbean wrong, I've spelled the Caribbean fleet. If I spelled Caribbean wrong in front of the whole internet, then so be it. So this has a screening to vulnerability ratio of 4,800 to 2,000. So I've put all of these ships into the Atlantic fleet. Okay, that gives me a much better... Okay, so the torpedo boat destroyer has a good ratio. The torpedo boat destroyer has a good ratio. It's just the other one that doesn't. Alright. And the trader interdiction fleet's going really well. So I could overall put some more capital ships in both of these fleets now. Now that I've gotten rid of those old ships. Okay. Alright. I'm starting to get my brain together about how this works. So I've got 1,800, so I'm going to have 3,600 screening and 1,000 vulnerability. So I'm going to have a buffer of 2,600 vulnerability. So if I put 25 dreadnoughts in here, 25 pre-dreadnoughts, that should put me where I want to be with the trader interdiction fleet. And this fleet's also doing pretty okay, all things considered. I would love to replace these old iron frigates. I would love to replace them with modern armored cruisers. So I think I'm going to queue in I think I'm going to queue in 31 armored cruisers to replace all these old iron frigates, and that should be good. And that should give me plenty of stuff to build with my my massive shipyard industry. I'm sorry if this is boring. Again, I'm really out here in this run to understand how the naval system works. Why are we so low in telephones? Are we not building more telephones? I would think we would be. Let's queue in a few more. Gosh, Wisconsin's got a lot of labor available. Oh my goodness, Minnesota's got a lot of labor available too. We'll queue in 10 each levels of electrics industries in Wisconsin and New York. Now, I'm still building up a huge amount of power, but I think I really want these. So, whoop. Ah, yes, Cuba. So we'll go ahead and we'll build 5 and 5 right away. And that should make sure that we don't end up in too much of a shortage of telephones, because I want to have enough telephones for my government. George Dewey has passed away. Sad. Excellent. Italian mass immigration. Very cool. We're almost down to a credit of 100 million. I spent really a lot during that war, I must say. I'm actually going to throw 5 of these dreadnoughts at the top of the queue. And then I think... Wow. Actually, the most efficient way to do this may be to put all of the dreadnoughts at the top of the queue. And then just let the excess go over the other ships. I think that's the way to do it. Beautiful. Steam turbine. Exactly what I wanted. Back over here in development. Steam! Shut up. You're profitable. You just don't know it yet. Alright, what does that do to our markets? A few more wineries. Where am I producing wine? Ontario, Somaliland. These will get done really fast. We'll double the amount of wine being produced in Somaliland. Oil in Saskatchewan, very cool. Cash flow is doing a lot better suddenly. Not sure why that is, but I'm about it. The most dangerous game. Oh man, it's been a minute. Well, no, it hasn't been as long since the last time, but this event is a very silly event from the very early on in Victoria 3. Returning from a safari expedition, Johann von Witten was marooned on a small island in the French West Indies. There he was hunted like an animal by the German aristocrat Paul von Hindenburg. Oh, man. Ugh. On brand. Never change, von Hindenburg. Oh, splendid. One of us is to furnish a repast for the hounds. The other will sleep in this very excellent bed. On guard, Johann. Johann von Witten dies. American relations towards Germany deteriorates by 10. Delightful. Exciting. Fun. That's extremely funny. Coup in the Republic of Japan. Really? What's happened to you, sir? They haven't changed anything. Wonder why. Who's heading up the government now? The industrialists. Well, I guess that is what it is. Alright. Egypt is going down in Liberty Desire. How's the power block? Power block's doing great. I need lower Liberty Desire before I can take Kordofan. Although I guess technically I don't need to take Kordofan, but I would like to take Kordofan. But I want it. Low organization in the Atlantic Fleet. Oh! No Admiral. Interesting. Let's see. I need someone really good. But I don't have anyone great. Well, extra command limit. That's actually good, but increased vulnerability. It's fine. He'll be fine. We're cruiser maxing right now. He'll be just fine. But he also needs promotions, I believe. Yes, he sure does. Promote him to Rear Admiral. And I can promote him to Grand Admiral. Stonkin' thick Admiral. I am slowly normalizing relations with the Netherlands. How's the investment pool? Investment pool? Wow, actually, I could be building a lot more. But obviously that would cost me, the government, more money as well. Zanzibar sides with Rwanda. Don't need to worry too much about that. I don't know why my... Well, high legitimacy. Well, that makes sense, I guess. That's fun. Norwegian mass immigration and French mass immigration. Delighted with that. Hey, German Empire. Do you really want to be rivals? Anti-Ottoman Association demands action. The Anti-Ottoman Association has requested that we establish an embargo against the Ottoman Empire. Successfully acting on the proposal will gain our government significant goodwill from the lobby. And to those who would refuse and prefer preserving the status quo, there was no hesitation. His response sounded well rehearsed because it was. This was a proactive man, one who spent hours pacing his chambers and anticipating attacks to come. My reply would be that we should never have allowed them to become so close to us in the first place. A friendship built upon deceit is nothing at all, and the goodwill gained from it, illusory. We'll look into this, or this is not in our interest. You know, I was looking to do an embargo. We'll look into it. Hey, Ottoman Empire, get embargoed. Behind bars, the arrest and alleged ill treatment of a disorderly protester associated with the labor movement has sparked resentment among his compatriots. Further demonstrations have been arranged urging his release. Prison was a miserable place. Iron bars, stone walls, and cold floors. In the past few weeks, the guards had taken to casually tapping their batons against the bars when they passed by, making sleep impossible. He could not even escape in his dreams, as the tension he felt in the waking world began to bleed over into his sleep as well. All this for pushing a policeman away? He'd regretted it at first. Now, though, perhaps he could say that every one of them deserved that and more. Perhaps an early release for good behavior can be arranged. Reduced labor movement activism, but yeoman farmers unhappy. Okay. Or we will not make exceptions because of some hooligans. Increase labor movement activism, industrialists happy. I'm going to go with the second one. That just seems like all benefits. I don't necessarily need a stronger labor movement, but it doesn't hurt to have it either. Alright. I've entered a period of chilling. Brazil, buddy old pal. Let's be friends. How do I... How do I have a leverage value of unknown with Brazil? What's going on with this? You're going after Kunduz. You know. It would only be 36 infamy. Ugh. Tragic. Oh boy. A crisis in Paris. Discontent in the French Republic has led to the seizure of the city of Paris by revolutionaries. France is now split between two rival governments, that of Paris and that of Versailles. It was now midday, and the whole affair had a most strange and incomprehensible aspect to one not brought up to making barricades. Instead of a government blocking every street, as was the case in the morning, a hostile cannon was now looking down every street. I feel like there's a missing word there or something. Anonymous, Times of London, correspondent, 1871. The Paris government has no leg to stand on, improves relations with France. The French Republic could use a change in government. The Paris Commune will be advantaged in its struggle against the French Republic, or we have no interest in this, deteriorates relations with France by 5. Relations with France are really, really good. Do we have a defensive pact? We do. The Paris government has no leg to stand on. Alright. Pennsylvania, actually, could could use a change up to their government method. We still have a shortage of phones. Doesn't seem like it. Alright. Let's put the rest of these electric industries in at the front of the queue just to get those knocked out. Where are we in the episode? 2 hours and change. Maybe I'll go to the end of the year. Electricity shortages in Montana, Kansas, Gondar, Arizona, and Minnesota. I think I really actually... Yeah, I need to increase the size of the construction industry. Excuse me? A proletarian revolt in Hejaz. Alright, well, I don't have any ability to get there, but that's okay. Troop transfer fleet. Station over here, please. How much am I making from tolls? 116k. Mostly from the Panama Canal and the Suez. Okay, so this was a good strategy. I ended up making a good strategy doing this. Now, what if I went to medium tolls? I think they're lying. I think that number is going to go way up. Wild. Oh, interesting. I can't change tolls for 6 months now. Curious. Well, okay. Learn something new every day. Today I learned the tolls should stay at low. You know, it's fine. It's fine. That's what we're about here in this run, right? We're just trying to figure out Get learning the system. Current Liberty Desire exactly at 50. Very cool. Still having electricity shortages. Gondar, Rhode Island, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Oh, right. I was going to increase the size of the construction sector. Let's bring it up to 170. 26 levels. 1, 2. My goodness. There's none in Iowa. We'll build 10 levels. 4 in Wisconsin. 6 in Colorado. We'll build 2 in Nevada. 2 in Utah. 2 in Arizona, 2 in New Mexico, 4 in Texas. What does that put us at? Close. We'll put 2 more in Wyoming. That'll get us to 180. That should be enough for now. Oh my gosh, I'm getting inundated with notifications. I got notifications at the wazoo. Maybe I should have a second troop transfer fleet. So now that we've finished all of these ships, what does it look like? Atlantic Fleet? You're still good. You're still good. I'm going to decommission these old iron frigates. Now, the Trader Interdiction Fleet has got 15k in blockade strength. So you really need a lot of blockade strength if you want to properly blockade an area. Are the tolls going up at all? Not really. Alright, alright. So lesson learned. People will not pay all that many tolls. 2 harms. gosh, there is a fight. I'm so freaking silly. I brought my fleet over here for nothing. For nothing. Oh boy, they're really taking their good time getting there, too. Dang. Well, I have beefed things before, and I will beef them again later. Troop transfer fleet, why don't you head back to the United States? Alright, we're on the front now, and everything's looking hunky-dory. Let's check our armies and make sure they're on offense. Perfect. Just making certain. Ibibio National Awakening. Fun. And now they're at 48, so now I should be able to steal Dongola, right? It gives me 11 infamy. Just make sure that's the state I want. No, Kordofan. Dongola is here. Oh man, that would have been embarrassing. Kordofan. 9.66 infamy. Greece's liberty desired by 96. Oh, man. Oh, that's so much. I did not expect it to be that much. Well, it is what it is. Alright, they're big man now, which is what it is. And all these other states are incorporated. Oh my goodness, they won! The French Commune. They've gone communist. Beautiful. Fantastic. I've never seen the Paris Commune actually seize control over the government. That's amazing. That's amazing. Amazing. How wonderful for me. No. We'll be reasonable. I'll be so reasonable. I'll be so reasonable, it's crazy. Looks like the Ottoman Empire has sorted their stuff out. Ooh, the Golden Yukon. I don't own the Yukon territory. I don't own the Yukon territory. I cannot. Until January 26th. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Oh my goodness. Well, happily, the Army of Africa is right here. Oh my goodness. I didn't realize the Hejaz affair was not done yet. Oh man. Oh, I'm really tired, y'all. The Red Scare. The rise of the communist regime in the French Commune has spurred a sense of terror and mistrust across the American society. Many fear that the United States of America will be the next to fall to communism. Every newspaper on the stand bore a title more extreme than the last. Shrill newsboys hawked them on corners, sending competing claims of atrocity and terror across the streets. Assassins and madmen claim power in French Commune, cried one of them. Recovered Red Bible reveals agenda of world revolutionists, shouts another. And amidst all of them marched 10,000 wide-open ears, soaking up each sensational word as they hurried to their stations. It could happen here. Weaker and angrier trade unions, 2% of upper stardom pops in America become more loyalist, or a panic would be wholly unwarranted. Pisses off everyone except for the trade unions. 2% of lower stardom pops become more loyalist, and weakens every interest group except for the trade unions. You know, I'm just gonna pick the first one. That's fine. I can have weaker trade unions for a little bit. I'm going to mobilize the Suez Canal force, just to make sure that we're good to go. going to give my Suez Canal Company investment rights. Because they need to be increasing in prosperity. So that I can get my $50,000. Alright. Hijazi Proletarian Revolt should be done, hoping after the next battle. We've nearly got the place completely occupied. Still working on building up that power stuff. Investment pool still wants more, but let me get to the bottom of my queue. And when I'm at the bottom of the queue, we'll see how much. Alright, now I need to drop the toll situation back to low. There we go. Perfect. And now people are using the canal again. Tolls are back up to 117. Perfect. There is plastics, and not a moment too soon either. Shabamzo. Give me all that glass. Have I created myself an oil shortage? Amazingly, I have not. Wonderful. That's beautiful. Textile mills, let's go to electric, shall we? So it would be profitable going to plastics, or going to elastics. The Communard Arc. With arrested communists beginning to stream into American prisons, figures within the government have suggested deporting the non-citizens among them to the French Commune aboard a chartered cargo ship. Just as the sailing of the Ark that Noah built was a pledge for the preservation of the human race, so the sailing of the Communard Arc is a pledge for the preservation of the United States of America. A wonderfully poetic suggestion. 2% of pops in Iowa become more loyalist. 472 laborers, Dakota animists in Iowa will be moved to Communard Nauru. Or they'll serve their sentences on our soil. Petite bourgeoisie unhappy. That's a lot of loyalists, but I got plenty of loyalists. It's fine. They'll serve their sentences on our soil. I don't care for that. Ooh, military aviation unlocked. Don't mind if I do. You know what this means, my nerds. It is time wow. I really completely used up my entire queue making these pre-dreadnoughts and went, this will be more efficient, huh? Well, anyway, it's time to get ourselves some aircraft carriers. Oh, I can't do that. I have military aviation, but I don't have carrier yet. Yeah, Egypt is likely to try to increase. I'd love to see them try. Those goobers, they're going down in Liberty Desire even as we speak. I'm saving their bacon. Their bacon, I say. I'm saving it. Their bacon. I'm kidding. I'm not saying they don't. They're Muslim. They don't eat bacon. Plastic production. The switch to plastic in our glassworks is set to revolutionize the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a world first. Behold, this perfectly carved ivory chess piece. Beautiful, no? What if I were to tell you that it is not ivory at all, but a new material called plastic? Plastic is the future, extra glassworks throughput. Or we should spread this knowledge. Colombia gets 6K production, 6K progress on plastics. I'm going to produce more plastics. Sorry, Colombia. I'm a selfish dork, is what's going on, to be completely honest. Well, I feel so very silly. I'm going to throw a few of these at the bottom of the queue, and then at least our trade interdictor fleets that are nearly done will be done at the same time. At our little by little event, I'm going to make Americans a vignette. We have one. Oh, I can hit the develop state button. So what this does is it lowers the penalties for the Amazon rainforest modifier. Nested within the rainforests of Guyana, the erstwhile sleepy village of Paramaribo has grown into a major hub of rubber extraction and transportation. To sleep now. The sun is going down. You and your father will need your strength to hunt tomorrow. But I am Senor Ramirez, and I am still ordering his... Do not speak that name, boy. Never again. Do not bring those men to us, whoever's left. And the rubber barons require more labor, extra infrastructure and migration traction, but reduced state construction efficiency and extra radicalism and mortality for laborers, or the business acumen. Their business acumen shall see Paramaribo thrive. So it's the same modifiers to radicalism and mortality. Let's go with, I can choose rubber plantations, building throughput, or infrastructure and migration traction. I'll go infrastructure and migration traction. I think that's the smart way to do things. Let me see. What else is going on here? Nothing special. Although if we're going to have an influx of population, might be a good place to build up oil, but that's a question for the private sector. All right. Yes. Haha, yes. My toll-based economy is working. Let me see. I think this is the other major toll influx location. This can't be true. Maybe they're not charging tolls, or maybe that's just because the tolls are not being charged of me. Which is fine. Alright, we still have some electricity shortages. I wonder if it's the same places. Oh my gosh, we're in an election cycle. Alright, so this time the Socialist Party of America is way out ahead. The Republicans have lost a ton of momentum. They lost the rural folk, and it appears the armed forces have gone back to the Democrats. Campaign financing. Parties, particularly the Republican Party, are struggling to raise enough funds for all their campaign financing in this election. Okay, so it looks like the socialists are out ahead. Let's see what you men are charging. Fees, yes, that's to be expected, but what's this lodging charge? That fancy hotel room could house half a village. There's enough wine built here to drown a fish. Votes don't come cheap, sir. You do want to win, right? Some money can be spared for the Republican Party. Extra momentum for them, and we spend cash on it. Every party can be provided with basic funding this election cycle. Wow, that's $65K a week in government expenses. I'm not going to do that. Half as much for this one at $32K. Or if a party can't afford a campaign, should it be campaigning? 10% momentum subtracted from the Republicans. You know I'm going to do that third one. I don't want to spend the money. Evangelicals are now influential. Yeoman farmers are out of politics. Ooh, more gold available in Nevada. Don't mind if I do. Oh my goodness, I got rice farms. The white émigrés. A stream of wealthy French émigrés fleeing the communist regime in the French Commune have sought shelter in the United States of America, bringing with them tales of revolutionary terror and unbridled proletarian excess. The worst was these new secret police, just like the old ones. They would round up people they didn't like, usually when all was drunk and quiet. Sometimes the day, too. And if we ever saw saw liquor trucks going into their offices, we knew we would never see our neighbors again. We had to get out. Very brave. We'll take care of you here. Anything for the French Commune's most upstanding citizens. Give them a platform to tell their stories. Washington gets 12% migration traction, socialist movement pop attraction, communist movement pop attraction, or a tragic procession. Oh, so the first one's a character appears, and 12% all the other stuff. It's 25% for the other ones, but it's in Connecticut for a tragic procession. I'm going to get a character. Let's see. Eugene Pelissier, a minoritarian traditionalist aligned with the Southern planters. Interesting. How long have we been at this? Closing it out. I'll go all the way to 3 hours. That'll be good. So we'll finish out the election cycle. A Corsican uprising in the French Commune. Let's see what becomes of this. The party favorites. The wing of the Democratic Party affiliated with the Southern Planters has raised complaints about Ulysses Kebble's choice of endorsements, leaving their supporters neglected. I must levy a concern now that it has come to my attention. Whilst Ulysses Kebolt's actions are undoubtedly well-intentioned, the recommendations contained thereof seem to exclude certain members of the party who have demonstrated more than sufficient vigor, goodwill, and surety of purpose. Listen to their concerns and appease the southern planters. He gets a bunch of popularity and they get some extra momentum, 20%. Or appeasement, don't they know it was fully intentional? Half as much momentum to the Democratic Party, southern planters significantly weaker, armed forces stronger. That bottom one is all benefits. Wow. The communards have a large army. Alright, so, and once again have a shortage of taxation capacity. This time it's going to be Michigan who's going to be swapped over. Wah. Wah, I say. Oh, actually, Michigan doesn't have any government admin. How much do we need? 2 levels. Well, 1 level, because they're going to be using telephone switchboards. Haha. And there's the end of the revolt in the Sudan. And everything's going pretty well. Hejaz is going up in Liberty Desire, which is a bit of a surprise. We're still improving relations, but it's been a slow process. But they're going up very slowly. And the relations will soon be better, and that will cause them to start going down, and that will be just fine. What about Egypt? Egypt is going down in Liberty Desire. Relations are excellent. They're rebellious, but hopefully not for long. Let me see. Where else am I short? Michigan I already did. Indiana. Indiana and Texas. Shabamzo and, furthermore, Shabamzo. Pressing issues. Where are my institutions at? My institutions are... Ooh, I can go for another level of healthcare. Excellent. Pressing issues. The ongoing election has drawn attention to the platforms of the various contending parties. Across the United States of America, the electorate debates which party is worth trusting with the next term in government. The first thing I take into account is the safety of my investments. If a party would represent chaos, I may safely discount it. The stockbroker tapped his cigar on the rim of the ashtray and continued. The journalist took notes as he spoke. How will the incoming government's tariff policy affect my needed imports? Do they wish to impose taxes, which may spur uncertainty? Do they wish to embark upon military adventures? Would these adventures be profitable, or would they be ruinous? There is much to consider. The Republican Party makes decisive arguments, extra momentum for them. The electorate trusts the Socialist Party of America's policies, extra momentum for them. Or the Democratic Party's policies have merit, extra momentum for them. You know I'm going to pick the Socialists. They're out ahead. And this puts them at a comfortable lead of 51% of the vote. Democrats really jumped up in there, but hopefully that'll be fine. Hey, Standard Oil, wonderful. I need 1,030 in bureaucracy to fix up my institutions. Looks like North Dakota and Kentucky are the next places to have their methods switched over. And that gives us more than enough to increase healthcare to level 4. The Defender of Decency. Jabal Shammar has fallen to a revolution amongst the armed forces. In the campaign materials of the Democratic Party, Conrad Zook has immediately denounced the armed forces here, prompting a similar revolt. You would name me a traitor? Of that I'm certain you are. Many abroad in Jabal Shammar would think similarly to you. What's to say you're not a traitor already, plotting sedition with the members of your book club? You've gone mad! Someone must stand against this revolutionary tide. Extra momentum to the Democratic Party. Armed forces unhappy. Our Jabal Shammar is far away, and this is here. Evangelicals, salty and weaker. 10% momentum subtracted from the Democratic Party. I'm going to go with that second one. That just seems like good sense. The armed forces are quite loyal, and also... I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. But it is what it is. I mean, them's politics, right? Okay, so the Socialists are at 54%. So it's interesting. The Democrats claim to actually have a commanding lead at neutral levels. But below 100% organization, they're a little goofy. Alright, we got a fleet. Okay, the fleet is done. There was a fleet here. It's gone now. Okay, electricity shortages in Washington, Delaware, Nebraska, and New York. So, what are we at? New York needs another 10 levels of power. No, the power plants are hiring. They need them subsidized. Washington, they're being expanded right now. Delaware, they need them subsidized. And what was the other one? Nebraska. Nebraska, they just need them subsidized. Alright. The investment pool still wants more construction capacity, so let's build some more construction sectors. I took one in Kordofan. I got an uneven number in Oromia. Where else have I got uneven numbers? American Amhara. Cool. I think that's everything. Alright. Build another 2 levels in Blue Nile, another 2 levels in Gondar, another 2 levels in Kordofan. We'll build Somaliland up to 6. Eritrea will build up to 6. And that will put us at 196. We're going to need another 4 levels. Let's build 2 in American Hormuz and 2 in the American Trucial Coast. That should be fine. Red baiting. Riding the wave of the Red Scare, a new and fiercely reactionary political movement under the ardently anti-communist Augustus Pfizer has coalesced in the United States of America, calling for relentless opposition to the depredations of communists both abroad and at home. The crashing of the drums was a new feature of the weekends. The jeering shouts and shows of force in the streets were growing louder and larger by the month. At its head was a rising star of some political faction too small to garner much attention, but he garnered swift attention from an outrage-addicted media. Augustus Pfizer is a true American patriot. 5% petite bourgeoisie pops become more loyal. He gets extra popularity permanently. And petite bourgeoisie will be more likely to select fascist leaders. Or this rhetoric just seems to be just as alarmist. Weaker and saltier petite bourgeoisie, he does get a little bit of popularity. I'm going to go with the second one. I don't have any interest in fascist politics at present. And spoilers, for those of you who are familiar with me both in terms of the channel and as a person, it's probably going to stay that way. Alright. Investment pool's looking good. Let's take a look at the ledger. Still well out ahead of Great Britain. I need to get Dominion of India free. That's going to break the back of the empire, but it's going to take a while. Alright. Egypt is still going down in Liberty Desire. Very good. And how are they doing? They're still basically using the entire construction pool. Muisca National Awakening. Alright, well, more construction capacity to them then. Where do I need to reset production methods? Kordofan. Oh, I'm a goof. I completely forgot. Alright, that's okay. That's okay. So, let's go up to 220. So we're going to need 20 levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That should be fine. That should be plenty. And here's our election results. Ephraim Carr, the Socialist Party of America, is the new president, which is not shocking. 96 legitimacy, I'm feeling pretty pleased about that. We've already done women's suffrage. He's a feminist. So there's not really much on the legislative agenda at present. Obviously, they would love to get off of laissez-faire, but laissez-faire has been good for the country. I don't know what else to tell you. We could go to protected speech, which... Oh, interesting. So I actually can't go to guaranteed liberties at all because I don't... Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I could go to protected speech, but I want to keep my authority. Actually, I've got a little bit more authority to play with, which is good because I need the money. Let me see. What can I get? Get a good amount of cash by consumption taxing porcelain or automobiles. Let's do automobiles. Automobiles are always crazy productive to consumption tax. All right, lovely. So that puts our credit at 63 million, which is not bad at all, frankly. Trade unions are now powerful. Industrialists are no longer powerful. Income from tolls is 194k, with even more passing through Suez and Bab el-Mandeb. About 75k in tolls from each, about, and then almost 50k in tolls from the Panama Canal. So yeah, things are going pretty well. Questionable practices. Released patients in the Washington Asylum have steadily denounced the practices involved in their supposedly medical treatments. Mistreatment of the sick, withholding of personal letters, and disproportionate punishments were among the charges. They would make us sit in chair for hours, if not the whole day, in silence. We couldn't talk to any other patient, not even read a book. They would only excuse us to go to the restroom if we were lucky. Otherwise, it was just a rusty chamber pot. No food, no water. If we were not sick when we were admitted, we would be so within just a few weeks. Their judgment cannot be trusted. Trade unions unhappy. We need to entirely revise how the asylum systems work. Plus one standard of living for lower and middle stardom pops in DC, but also costs 110k a week for 5 months. Or the trade unions can take over the asylum administration. They become happier, but we take a huge penalty of bureaucracy. We have 26k bureaucracy, so losing 10% of it would put us down. It would be significant. I do have enough to buffer with the new method, but I don't think it's worth it. Their judgment cannot be trusted. Oh, all right. Cause without a rebel. Augustus Pfizer, our newly discovered fascist, has fallen out of politics. Although Augustus Pfizer is still fighting for his cause, no one is following him anymore. Despondent Pfizer started publicly remarking that he may give up on his activism altogether. What's the point? Speakers only have any speak to empty halls and in empty chairs. There's no crowds, no banners. If anyone pays attention at all, they'll never understand anything we're preaching. What reason is there to stay here? We're all stuck doing nothing. Perhaps he can find greener pastures elsewhere. He's exiled, or no time for timidity. The movement needs a drastic change. 33% chance each the fascist movement gets stronger, weaker, or more active. It is a fascist movement, right? That's what he... No, he's part of the corporatist movement. Bananas. Well, anyway, bye! Get out of here. Get out of here. Stay over there. Syrian National Awakening. Delightful. All right. What a week, eh? All right. Investment pool is looking good. Still not using all this capacity, but I guess it's a week-to-week weirdness thing. So, that being said, that is all the time we've got for this episode, my nerds. Woo! What an exciting one. We had a big fight against the Germans, the Ottomans, and the Brits, and we basically won. And the Russians, kind of, at the same time. And we won. So, you know, I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm feeling pretty good about how things are going. I had a good time. I hope you all had a good time, and I will see you on the other side.